Ruler School is brought to you by Odyssey Games, where you can go to pre-order upcoming Force of Will sets, ccgprime.com for singles and supplies, cardodoko.com for those rulers in the international market looking for product, the Ruler School Circuit Series, now taking orders on our Q1 2025 Squid.exe circuit kits, and to our guest lecturer members, Vite Ramen and Casey Madden. Class is in session.
Hey there guys, welcome back to another deck profile with yours truly, Paul Reisman. Today we are taking a look at the recent Lumia and Lunya deck list that I have put on the channel. It's Fates Reunited season, so we are taking a look at the newest version that you can play with this Crimson Frenemies at the Farmlands of Aurelia. Just kind of rolls off the tongue, very poetic. This deck sets up a very interesting new dynamic. You can only play with fire, light, and green cards in your deck. Fire, light, and wind cards in your deck. Plus you get to make extra goat tokens anytime you attack with a non-goat. And then if you end up with 28 goats, goat counters on this extension rule, you just instantly win the game, which opens up a really interesting set of play lines in Wander specifically, especially because Lumia also got a brand new regalia in the form of Crimson Lotus. So let's take a look at the deck and see what we have to do. In order to play this version of the deck, you have to play 6 goats. So we're playing 4 of the new 3-eyed black goat Aurelia. This is your way to get rid of things like Mask, but also to take control of some things your opponent has if you are playing as Lunya. So that's really helpful for that. Plus it has a God's Art to banish a goat, which it is itself a goat, and pay for red. Destroy all damage J resonators. Put a limit counter on each entity with a limit. So this is really, really helpful for just getting rid of entire boards if you need to, because every time you swing, Lunya will be pinging that resonator. So this card is really helpful for that. This card is not the greatest card in the deck. It's fine. It is also something you just kind of have to play because you do need 6 goats. Our other 2 goats are Willow, Shepherd of Saplings. This card came out in the 3rd set of Trinity Cluster. This is actually really, really helpful to see. It has Barrier Blue-Black, First Strike, and Overgrowth, meaning it's going to come in and give some counters to everything on the field. But the best part about this is its named ability to bring things back, bring itself back from the graveyard whenever your opponent plays a second spell. So this card is really, really helpful for that. Plus, whenever they start playing additional spells, you get to make additional tokens, which is really great. And they just get massive. So this card is really, really solid. It's a lot better than I was giving it credit for initially, but this card is the only other goat in the game, I believe, that's actually worth playing. So this card is actually really helpful. In terms of our Cthulhu's, you have to play at least 6. I'm playing 4 Flames of Nyarlathotep in combination with Shakti. Not a Cthulhu herself, but she does count toward our humans count of having at least 6 humans. When you play Flames of Nyarlathotep on 1, the general play line here is that you play this, you go to your second turn, you swing with this to create a goat on your side of the field, and on your opponent's side of the field, your opponent can do whatever they want in response to this thing, but then if they try and do anything, you're actually baiting out a card from their hand. You banish it to produce red. You tap your 2 other stones and use the floating red to play a Shakti, and then you just swing into their goat token, and if they have no response to that, you basically win the game, because this card will come into the field, it'll attack your extension rule will see that you attacked with a non-goat, creating another goat. This kills the first goat, recovering and allowing you to attack the second goat, allowing you to then trigger and get a third goat, etc., until infinite goats is achieved, and you simply win the game. So this card is actually really helpful for the deck in general, and if for some reason you are not able to get the infinite with this, it's just a decent 10-10 swiftness, precision, and first strike that can recover in general whenever you kill a body. So this is the main play line, and the main reason we're playing Flames of Nyarlathotep. We're able to do this play 1 turn earlier, which is certainly relevant. It's a much more aggressive play. The other two Resonators that have Cthulhu that we're playing are the original Nyarlathotep, the Crimson Radiance. So if you ever want to flip your Lumia and remove this card from the game in order to achieve what you need in order for her to get Imperishable and Drain, this card is needed for that. Plus, she's not too bad on her own. She is a light and fire human Resonator, so she can be used in combination with the Lotus if you would like her to be. And she can just come out if you just need her out of your hand for whatever reason. That is an option and an axis of play you have access to. And so this card does exist for that. Then we're also playing 2 Healing Wing Dragon Rider. This card is really solid. It basically acts as like a... I'm going to scoop you up and just take you out of the game. If you know Skydive from... or there's a move in the Pokemon modern video games where you can just take something out of the game for the entirety. This card is very similar to that mechanic. It has Quick Cast, Flang, and Drain, which is not irrelevant when playing as Lumia. Players cannot cancel this card or its abilities, so it's very safe to play. And it dodges Mirror, so that's relevant as well. And you can remove a target Resonator from the game, and if you do, this card cannot be moved to a non-hand zone, so that meaning they cannot solarize it or add it back to their hand in any way. I'm sorry, they can add it back to their hand in some way, but they can't move it back to their deck or send it to their graveyard or have it expelled in any way. They can only add it back to their hand, and there's very few ways to do that in the game. Owners cannot play cards that share a name with the chosen target or activate abilities of cards that share a name with the chosen target, as long as that card is in the removed area, so this is a very helpful thing. And at the end of the chosen target's controller's next turn, all Resonators removed from the game this way from all removed areas are put into their hand. So they do eventually get it back, but if you use this card in the right way, it kind of time walks them a little bit, but for the most part, I'm using this card because it has the Flying and the Drain and the Quick Cast. It's really helpful for that, and it meets the human requirement. I'm also playing 2 Blessed Champions. This is another one of Lumia's new cards. This is a way to get back any of your 2 cost or less Fire or Light or Fire Light Resonators from the graveyard. It's really helpful because most of the cards in the deck are pretty much that outside of Shakti. So anything in the deck outside of things like Lorite as well. You can't get Lorite, but you can get pretty much everything else. Lorite and Woolwilla would be uneligible as well as Shakti. But this card is really helpful for just getting things back in, and it gives your stuff some precision and barrier chant, which is really helpful. Just added utility for this card. Whenever this card leaves the field, then you can search for another one. So you can flicker it or just have it die, and it'll come back, which is really great. We're playing a draw engine, Cecilia, Fire Punisher of the Solaris Order. This card was not good until this deck. Maybe if someone is out there trying to figure out how to use the new version of Mika with some of her edited and errata cards, this card's a little bit better, but for the most part, this card saw absolutely no play, had absolutely no utility as an SR until this deck came out. So she comes in, she blows up one of your opponent's goat tokens and draws you 2 cards, and then because a token was put into the graveyard from the field, she'll gain +2 and swiftness until end of turn. Now this does stack, so if you do have other tokens that end up going to the graveyard, she does end up getting a little bit bigger. Plus, whenever you flicker her, whenever you attack, you're going to be creating a token, so you can flicker her, have her come in, blow up another token and draw 2 more cards, and discarding another one. So this card is actually really solid for the deck. Shout out to Tyler Tompkins for discovering this little interaction. It's very cute. Stephen Jeswin also would probably be on this, knowing how much he loves fire aggro. So shout out to those 2 random people that I just had pop into my head. This card is very solid. We're playing for Lorite because I like interaction alongside Pharaoh's Spell, Girl Staring At, some Kilowog Fossil Girl in the City to draw additional cards, but also to stop Fate triggers. This card alongside Lorite can stop the automatic trigger of Fate if your opponent is going first. The problem that Lorite has, and the reason you want this card in before, is because you actually have a Fire Energize, so this card is actually really relevant for that. I play 3 Hellfire of the Demonic World because there's a lot of Barrier and Eternal going around, and I just don't want anything to do with it. That stuff would be infinite blocker material to the point where I would not be able to do anything. I think specifically a Robometa, getting rid of that card is really important for this deck in my opinion. So I actually main decked Hellfire, and it was something my opponents were not expecting. And then just for a little bit of fun, because I do have an access of play where I can set chance standbys, Flame Trap is here as well. If I control a Fire Magic Stone and my opponent has a ton of Resonators, which they're likely to have because I'm giving them goat tokens, I can just burn everything on their field that's a Resonator for 800, get rid of all of those tokens, and deal some pretty significant damage to their board as well. So this card is just cute. In my Magic Stone deck, I'm playing 4 Awakened Magic Stone of the Earth because this is Lumia Stone from Lapis Cluster, so you kind of want to play that. I'm playing our Tri-Stone that gives me access to all 3 colors I have access to. 2 for Sea Stones for Killua, just because this card is really helpful for seeing cards that I want to see. And I'm not really too worried about Star Scale in Million lists necessarily. So this card is, you know, relatively safe in my opinion. People are starting to experiment with 4 Sea Stones now with the new Mulligan changes, making Star Scale a little less consistent in terms of seeing it in opening hands. Playing 1 Heat Ray and 1 Blasting Wave just to kind of round everything out. The deck is more fire than light, and more fire than green. So there's a lot of just basic. Let's just start at a base red and then go out from there. You're going to have a lot of access to a lot of your colors, so this stone list feels very solid to me. The side deck, of course, we're going to be playing our 3 basics starting outside of the game cards. Fire Pit Trap is one of those. It's going to be dealing 200 damage to the turn player every turn, plus if the player plays anything for free or anything, it has to have no ambush, no stealth, and no trigger. But if that card was being played for free, it's going to deal 600 damage to that player. Also, if it comes in from a non-hand zone, this card will deal 600 damage to them as well. It just kind of puts everyone on a clock. It's really helpful for that. We're playing Rogue Spectator so that you don't have any sort of life gain for the turn, and I can just go for game. I also have Replicant Shiva to blow up the board and buff my board as well. This card is really helpful for that. Plus, I do have ways to remove things from the game in this deck. Oftentimes, I can hit my own card if I really need to. And then if I... actually, never mind, I can't really do that. If someone... Let me just put it this way. If someone gets rid of something from the top of my deck and flips something up, say in the Gil matchup, I can just put something on the bottom of the deck and bring this card out. I do have Crimson Lotus. This is the other access of the deck that I get to play. All of my light fire humans gain ambush. Plus, this card also has ambush. So if I go second, I have the ability to put this in my own chance standby. I can reveal it from my hand, put it in my chance standby, and then I can just bring it out for 1 as well. So this card is actually pretty self-contained, pretty self-consistent. Draws me extra cards if I have a card leave the field and I have 4 or less cards in my hand to get to draw extra cards. This card is actually pretty decent and provides a lot of card advantage. So there are certain matchups where you're going to want that. And there are certain matchups where you're not going to want to play this card, right? Sometimes you're going to want to play the Shiva package from outside the game, so you don't actually reveal this and put it into your hand. Knowing which mode you want to play, I think can, take us into a different way of thinking about the deck depending on our matchups. And so I just think that's a really cool aspect of this deck that isn't necessarily the case for other Lapis Reunited lists. We're playing 3 Sign to the Future because it's another chance standby that I get access to, and again, I'm giving them go tokens, so if I'm attacking and all of a sudden they have something with Eternal, I can just get rid of it with Sign to the Future. That's really, really helpful. This card is just kind of a chance standby staple. I have 2 more Healing Wing Dragon Riders, just in case I want to again, get rid of things with Eternal. I want to be playing some quick cast flying drain cards instead. Trying to utilize this strategy and go more for a human aggro sort of style with the Lotus. Play 3 Gradius. This card is really great for just dealing with stuff that has abilities that has Eternal, or they have Vizjerei Resonator, or there's just stuff that's happening on the field that can use Gradius and just stab it away. This card has always been really good, and so Gradius in red decks is kind of a staple card at this point. Then I'm playing 3 of the Dancing Crimson Flames. This is kind of our answer to Prison in the Lunar Lake not being allowed to be used in this list. It's a blue card, and so this card does exist as a kind of pseudo replacement. I get to copy the abilities of the card that they put into the field with the enter effect that I can then copy. And then if the source of the chosen ability was a resonator, removed from the game face down. Otherwise, I just get rid of it. So that's really helpful. And I believe this does not target, so this is actually really helpful to some degree too. Yeah, so Dancing Crimson Flames, very, very helpful. But what does this deck look like in Paradox format? This deck has had significant issues going into the Wanderer environment, just because it's kind of hard to say what cards should be included. I think this is one of those decks, again, that if you sat down and really planned out in Wanderer what types of things you were trying to do with the deck, if Shakti isn't particularly good in the format, what other Cthulhus can you use instead of Flames? I mean, really, it's a deck that values planning. It's much more of a mid-range deck than one would think initially. But in Paradox format, things are just a little bit different. We're still playing the same rulers. We're still playing Frenemies in this version. We're still playing our similar goats and our similar humans here with a Healing Wing Dragon Rider and Blessed Champion. But we're also tapping into Throm farming the land. This card is actually pretty decent in the fact that it can just come down and be a 6/6 that swings in. It also buffs your other goats, and it can search for other goats. So if you don't have a Woewillow, this card does exist for that, and it is a Cthulhu human, so it kind of counts for both, which is really helpful. So in the event that you're actually trying to make room, this will count for both. It will count toward your Cthulhu count, and it will count toward your human count. So if you're trying to figure out room and you don't have a lot of Cthulhus that you want to play, this might be a way for you to get around that with the numbers. We're actually playing, there's an infinite with Lars, or I'm sorry, not Lars, Raymond. I keep getting those two confused. But there's a combo, an infinite with Raymond, that allows you to judgment your Lumia, swing with that Lumia, and in response to one of the triggers before the attack actually has something flicker, you can bring in Raymond, recover your Lumia to have it attack again, and then this card, once it gets flickered out by Lumia's own effect, can come back into the field, allowing her to be recovered and attack again. Have her come back into the field, have this come back into the field, and you cycle back and forth until you just have infinite attack. You can stop this with some sort of activate effect cancel, such as Forgotten Amphitheater of Mool can stop this ability, but in Paradox, it's a lot harder to stop the activate ability gods are to bring it in. So I think this is actually a little bit more viable in this particular format. We're still playing Cecilia. I'm playing Academy City's Gardening Unit. So this card is essentially our answer to, well, what would happen if I just, attack something with precision, killed that goat token, and then just flickered this at the end of turn to get myself another stone from my deck. This card is actually really good for that. It does have this propensity to recycle itself, and if you have multiple on the field, that's also really good. Just playing a strategy where you just ramp into a bunch of your stones down here in your Magic Stone deck, and then you just play Cancel War with Goliath's command, Destroy Point MQ59. This is your answer to all of the powerful 2-drops in the format, like Ashwin, Banish It, Face Down, which is really helpful. There's a lot of 2-drops in the format that this card just absolutely loves to eat up. And then you also have your Swords of Progression. This is a good way of bouncing a goat token, canceling something, drawing extra cards. It's the best high utility card that we have in the format, generally speaking. So in terms of green cancels, this is pretty premium. We're playing 4 Nightmares of Rilya. Now, why are we playing this in Paradox and not in Wanderer? I think this card is actually pretty good in general. I want to kind of experiment with this card in Wanderer proper, because one of the secret effects of your extension rule is that you can actually cast this. This has Mastery Goat in all zones. So if you do have a goat that is up, like for instance your Woe Willow, and you want to get rid of something that has Eternal, you can give it +10, -10, because its stats hit 0, then it goes away by rules process. So this is a really fun way of getting around certain things, but also buffing your own stuff in some ways too. This thing is very fascinating for that. Then we play 4 Killua. Again, this is a good way to stop fate triggers, so I wanted the full 4 in this particular build. Magic Stones, again, for Magic Stone of the Earth, 2 Magic Stone of Remnants, 2 Precious Stone, and 2 Precious Stone and 2, well, also Precious Stone. Yeah, that just happened. You're going to be shocking yourself pretty bad. In the sideboard, you're still playing your Lotus, and you're still playing Fire Pit, but you don't get access to Rogue, and you don't get access to Shiva and Paradox. So we just filled it up with other really good utility cards, like Zero's Light Lightning. This card is insane. If for some reason your opponent is playing Darkness, they're going to have a bad time. Or if they're playing Barrier Resonators and trying to play Control, you're going to have a bad time. This card is very, very good right now. Of course, I added a 4th copy of Dancing Crimson Flames in case I wanted to go into the Crimson Lotus access point as well. And then I played some Ritualists, which I think this card is really solid, because if you do end up swinging with this and doing some first strike damage, getting some things off the field, you can just flicker this and get rid of stuff on your opponent's field. There are cards in the game right now that have things like Barrier Chant, but they don't have Barrier J Resonator, so this card is really good for that. Plus, in a worst case scenario, this thing flickers in at the end of turn, and you just get rid of one of your opponent's goats tokens, which is really, really helpful. Or your own goat tokens if you really need to. This card is really solid for that. Plus, it's kind of like a pseudo mask for your opponent, so there are multiple axes that you can play with this particular list. So guys, that is the Lumia list. We're going back to the Wanderer version here, just so you can take a look at that. Let us know what you think down in the comment section down below. I'm sure there are some Lumia Lunya stands that can give us some really good advice for if you want to take this deck forward and do some different changes with it. There's a lot of potential that this particular combination of rulers has. So go down to the comment section, let us know. While you're down there, hit subscribe, ring that bell, and we'll see you next time here at Ruler School. This has been Paul saying class is dismissed.